Most healthcare institutions are non-profit rather than for-profit entities. I would like to take a minute to discuss the differences between the two because they will have an impact on strategy. For-profit entities are owned, and large ones are usually owned by many investors. Although for-profit entities can have many stakeholders, people whom the company must consider in making decisions, such as employees in the community, the managers of a for-profit are working to benefit the owners. A for-profit is judged on its profitability and on its returns to the investors, either through dividends or by improving stock prices. The main goal of a corporate strategy, therefore, is to determine how the company can improve its strategic position to grow and to make more profit. Corporate managers are judged on how they improve earnings per share. The people in a for-profit business that have oversight of the managers or the board, who are elected by the shareholders. The average number of people on a corporate board is usually about 12. They will review management's strategic plan and performance to that plan. Getting consensus on strategic directions for a for-profit is usually pretty straightforward, as there are specific metrics and a small number of people to judge whether the proposed strategy looks reasonable. Non-profits are formed not to make money, but to perform a social benefit. Non-profits are not judged on how much money they're making, but rather on whether they are fulfilling their social mission. To create a non-profit, an application is submitted to the IRS asking to become a 501c3. If granted, the organization does not need to pay any income taxes. Non-profits do not have owners or investors, as there is no equity or stock to be controlled. In addition to their tax status, non-profits also benefit, and that they can be given money by donors, and volunteers can work for them without having to get paid. But even if the non-profit's purpose is to do social good, it still must be cash flow positive. The first rule of sustaining a non-profit is that it has to stay alive in order to do good. Non-profits then may make some money by charging customers for their services. This is cash from operations. There may be one out there, but I've never come across a non-profit that is cash flow positive just from its operations. The difference has to be made up from donations and grants. Non-profit must consider its donors and granting agencies, as well as its customers. The board of a non-profit is usually made up of its large donors. A typical non-profit board will have 40 members, who have all donated to the non-profit for different reasons. Therefore, when they're reviewing the corporate strategy of the non-profit, they're not looking at a simple metric, earnings per share, but instead, what is called the double bottom line. How were they doing in achieving their social impact as well as profit? Often, there are no reliable metrics on how the social goals are being met. Often, organizations will talk about how much money is being spent rather than how effective the expenditures were. An example would be, how much is being spent on getting the homeless off the street, even if the number of homeless remains the same.